So thanks everyone for coming. This is the February meetup for community meetup for LocalGov Drupal. And we're going to be talking about AI today. Thankfully, I'm not going to be talking about AI. We've got 4 great talks. So thanks to Justine, Martin, Gareth and Sam for volunteering their time and expertise. Much appreciated. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say and see what you have to show. We've also had an amazing turnout, so over 100 signups and counting, which I think shows just how much of a hot topic this is, how much interest there is. So we will see. This is not the only time we will do this. We'll see where this conversation goes in this session and may sort of look to do some other follow-ups and standalone sessions. We've also got LocalGov Drupal Camp, etc. So lots of other opportunities. As I said, we're going to start with some quick-fire questions on Mentimeter. So you can join by that QR code or the URL that Tim's posting, or use the menti.com and enter the code. And after we're going to use this and the talks and stuff, and Tim and I are going to do a write-up and we'll share that afterwards, along with a video on our YouTube channel. So you can share those to people who couldn't make it. And we're also, today, we're going to try using Mentimeter for questions as well for the Q&A. So you can post those questions as you're going. Because of time, I want to do all 4 sessions and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So we make sure we cover the lightning talks and then we'll cover questions. If you can't use Mentimeter for whatever reason, then just, of course, put it in the chat as normal. That's totally fine. All right, we're going to get going with the first question. So what I'm going to do is move us on to the first slide, first question, and away we go. So first question, what's the first word that comes to mind when you hear AI? Let's see what people... Right, Grok, Terminator, very good. Knowledge, evolution, fear, hype, snake oil. Very good. We'll see if there's see what the word cloud's giving us. Lots of different ones, interestingly. Potential and energy in the middle, potential being the biggest. Helpful, surreal, propaganda. So real mix. I would say more on the negative. Helpful, great, bot, Skynet. So we've got Skynet and yeah, good. Overhype, ChatGPT, synonymous. It's a bit like Hoover, isn't it? It's becoming a bit like Hoover. Jobs, evil Musk, very nice. Okay, we've had 50 responses, so I'm going to move us on. Very interesting. Okay, next slide. Which of these statements best describes your stance on AI? The one we can't see at the moment. I wanted everyone to be able to have access to the QR code. So that says, I think, optimistic, cautiously optimistic, open-minded, skeptical, or concerned. Interesting to compare with the word cloud with this. I'd say the word cloud was more on the right-hand side, skeptical, concerned, but general views more veering towards the positive. Okay. And an open question this time. You can type more than one response. So if you do one response per, just put it in, rather than a list in one response. So what do you use or already use AI for? And work and home, both totally relevant here. See, we're in a work context, but let's see. Meeting summaries, research. I don't know what rubber ducking means. I feel like I should. Can someone explain that? Content creation. Content, almost everything. Recipes, right, interesting. I'd say the most thing here is meetings in one form or another. Ideation, idea generation, coding, content importer, wink. Is that you, Justine? emails, content, wasting time. 2 for cooking. I think that's interesting. I feel like I need to look into this. If someone could put in the chat how exactly they do that, I'd be very interested. Alt text. I think we might come on to that, Gareth. Cutting down Google research, editing HTML. All right, cool. Let's go on to the last one. What task in your role could AI help with that it's not already? Might be slightly slower, this one. Okay, coding. So one person doing it, but not data analysis. Okay. Coding, copywriting, coding. Reminders. I could do with that. Another big publications. Is that you again, Justine? Data, IA, project planning, code review, design mock-ups, interesting. Content standardization, writing. I think it was documentation, but I like the idea of documentation as well. House styles, GDS formatting, diagnostics, automated tests, alt text, accessibility audits. That'd be cool. Spell checking, accessible content, video production. Okay. Super speedy through this. This is great. Chatbots on the website. We will come on to that. Customer assistance, outbound calls. Outbound calls, I'm curious what that means. Someone wants to share in the chat. Pretty much everything at some point. Okay, I think we'll end on that note. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to come on to the lightning talks. You'll be grateful to hear. I'm not going to be talking anymore. We've got Martin from Webcurl is going to be talking about AI chatbot with Copilot, Gareth on Drupal CMS, and then Sam on Arto, their AI assistant, and finish off with Justine talking about pecking and PDFs, more specifically using the content importer and AI with the content importer. So I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to stop sharing, but you should now still on your phone be able to see this. So you can post your questions here. I will see them. And at the end, we'll come back to them. So we're going to start with Gareth. Over to you. Sorry, Martin, over to you. Hello.
Hi everyone. So, nice to see you all. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Martin Waite. I'm the project manager here at Webcurl. Webcurl are a LocalGov Drupal and Microsoft CRM specialist. I'm also joined by Colin Sherry, the MD, who'll be able to answer any of your questions at the end. So we have a little presentation for you today around the AI assistant, which can be found and trialed at our demo site, mycouncil.webcurl.co.uk. And the module is obviously available on the LGD GitHub as well, if you'd like to try it out for yourselves. So a little configuration information to start with. I hope you can all see my screen okay. The AI assistant uses standard block technology. So to configure that, we go on to structure and blocks. And then in the footer region, you just place your blocks. You'll see here, we have 2 AI assistants, which we'll be demoing for you today. The first one is the AI assistant is like a site-wide, and the second one is the fostering specific AI assistant. To configure this, we just simply click on configure, and you'll need to enter a token endpoint. Surprise, surprise, us being a Microsoft house, we're using Copilot Studio. So once you've entered your endpoint, you need to then select which pages you're going to apply that to. In this case, obviously, we're applying it to the front page, but simply enough to apply it to all, just delete that and make sure that your show for the listed pages is selected, and that will apply to all of the pages on your website. The fostering assistant, very much the same, although this is a specific fostering AI assistant. You still need the same elements, so you still need your token endpoints, and you still need to locate it to a page where you're going to be using it. So in this case, we're restricting it to the fostering landing page. So how does that work on the site itself? Down the bottom here, you can see we have our AI assistant, and we get a generic pop-up message which can be configured with some prompts about ideas that you might want to search for in the website. This chatbot is being restricted to only search within our site, so we can't search for anything that might be off on the internet and come back. But if I do a search for tell me about mental health support, the chatbot, or the assistant, should I say, is now scouring the site looking for the most relevant information to produce and send back to us. And there we go. So it's responded with information it's found on our site and provided us with links to move us forward for any further information we may require. And this particular AI assistant isn't generated using any restrictions on its communication. So moving on from that, we could search for bulky waste. And it's not going to try and continue our conversation around mental health. It's now going to search for results related to bulky waste and how to dispose of bulky waste. So there we go. Again, once again, provide us with links, provide us with the information that we might require. And then we have our more specific fostering AI chatbot, which has been restricted using search to limit down the scope for the answers it's going to provide for you within the website. So much the same here. You see we've got the fostering AI assistant down in the bottom right-hand corner there. We have a different prompt coming up from this, which again is completely configurable. And you might want to ask, why should I adopt or foster? Once again, the fostering AI, with its reduced scope, is now looking through the pages underneath the fostering landing page and providing us with the information we require, plus links off to those pages which we might want to reread. But this one specifically is more designed around communication and engagement. So you'll see here the chatbot has actually responded with a comment asking if you'd like someone to contact you, because obviously we want to promote people to go into fostering if they can. So by selecting yes, it's now asking me for some personal details. So my first name, my surname, and my email address. It's asking me for confirmation to make sure that those details are correct. And if they are, it will then start to create a case for me within a CRM and output those directly to CRM. I can take that one step further by going into the LocalGov CRM, which has been connected to our council site. And you can see that there is once it's loaded, a case has been generated by me. There is an automated email response, which goes back out to the person who submitted the request. I have created a customer record for that individual user. And if I were to be a user of the CRM, it's also created me a chatbot query queue item, which I, as the user, can then pick up and work on, and that puts it into your queue. That's about all that we were going to cover today. If you want to have a one-to-one with us or want to discuss any more of this in detail, then please do feel free to get in touch. Thanks very much, Aaron.
Thanks, Martin. That was brilliant. Bang on time as well. I didn't even send a reminder. Amazing. Thank you. We've got one question for you, or maybe even two, I think. We'll come back to those at the end. And I'm going to pass over to Gareth. Hey, Gareth.
I'll just start sharing. Hopefully you should see Drupal CMS. This is the landing page. I guess I'll start by a bit of an introduction. I'm a Drupal developer at Zoocha. I'm also track lead for the accessibility tools for Drupal CMS. So I've been involved in helping getting this to launch at least. And then there's obviously ongoing work. But I've seen behind the curtains, and I've got a bit of an idea of what Jamie's been doing in terms of the AI. So I'm going to just give you a basic demo of Drupal CMS, and I've actually pre-configured this ever so slightly. There's a new project browser within Drupal CMS, and you can see that I've installed the AI assistant here. I only did that because I've found that we needed to use a paid account to actually get some of these AI tools to work fluidly. You can get it to work without a paid for account, but out of the box it comes with OpenAI or Anthropic, and as I'll show you later, there's quite a few other providers that you can connect to. So for the demo, I'll show you what basically Drupal AI opens up as a wee chat box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install an event content type here and give you a bit of a demo as to what the tool can do. Now that that's installed, you can see that we've already got an event content type. If I was to go and create some more, let's create an event. What I can do is here, if we look back actually, you'll see that we've already got DrupalCon Atlanta in there. So what I might do is I'm going to get Drupal Chatbot to, can you change the name event to conference? And Drupal AI will go off and certainly gives you the instructions on how to do it. Change the content type name from event to conference directly in the content type settings. Update any references or labels from event to conference. Would you like me to proceed with these changes? Drupal CMS has adopted the put a human in between it. It won't just go off and do it. It'll ask you if you want me to do these, and I can type yes, and it will think about it for a bit. I've successfully changed the content type. So we can go to manage content type pages. I think what's happened there is if we then, let's see, go to content types, you can see that's been changed there to conferences. Okay, so yeah, great conference, there we go. What I'm going to do now is content. What's it got? It's got location. It's got, what we don't have is, let's ask it. Can we add a text field for speakers? We can add a text field for speakers to the conference content type. Here's what I plan to do. Add a new text field to the conference content type, set the field type to be plain text, configure it. Would you like me to do this? Let's get to do that. Already humanizing chatbot by giving it a gender. We'll get it to do that, not him. Okay, so the speaker's text field has been successfully added to the conference. Let's just refresh this conference and see what that does. There it is, right down at the bottom. This field is quite important. And we move it here under the title. I want to scroll down to the bottom to get that. So I've moved the speakers field to appear right underneath it. Form display order has been changed, so we could go to the form display and actually see title authored by. It did it actually? It didn't. It's not actually moved it. Let's just ask it to do it again. Oh, it says I'm going to move fields directly within the display order. Okay, so I'm in the wrong page for that. But it does give me instructions. Go to the conferences content type form display, which is where I am. Drag the speakers. And then I'll just save it. Right. Next, visit the view display. Add the speakers field. Okay. And we can see that we've got that there. We've got our speakers. The other thing I was going to show off, I think that's, as you can see, there's a lot of tools. Although the recipe installs something, it installs AI Core and the providers, and then the AI agent and the assistant. There's your alt text stuff. There's a chatbot. The other thing I quite like using is the AI integrate CK editor integration. So this is just in the modules bit. I'm just going to install that. If I go to text formats, where's my AI tool? That there, AI tools, generate with AI. Now what I should be able to do is go back to my content. Is I'll get it to generate. Cambridge even. See what it comes up with. Join us for Drupal Camp Cambridge, England. Get ready for an exciting event designed for Drupal enthusiasts. There we go. We know what the date is. There we go. It's not bad. It looks all right. And that's what I was going to show off today for Drupal CMS AI integration. There's a lot of other stuff coming. There's more providers being provided, and I think Jamie's trying to get an out of the box experience that means you don't have to use AI API keys and things like that, and you can be a lot more seamless, and obviously a lot more things that can be done, but it's largely designed at the moment to try and help people who are interested in reconfiguring their site. But obviously there's front end tools as well, like the chatbots and things like that are also available.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gareth. I had not seen that before. That is super cool. Thank you. We've got a couple of questions for you as well. So we'll come back to those and we'll come on to Sam. Hi.
Hey, thank you. Let me just quickly share my screen. Bear with me. Hopefully everyone will be able to see that. I get a quick thumbs up that we've got that on screen. Arto, how AI powered? Fantastic. Firstly, thanks Gareth and Martin for your talks. Big shoes to follow. So yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here today with the vibrant LGD community and guests today. My name's Sam, and I'm the AI Solutions Lead at Invuse. And for those who haven't met Invuse, we have been a public sector dedicated digital transformation agency for over a decade, specializing in WCAG compliant digital platforms, GDS best practice content, intelligent automation, and more recently, of course, artificial intelligence. And we've had the pleasure of delivering LGD for 12 councils in the community, along with delivering large-scale digital transformation projects for the likes of the DWP, Home Office, and Cabinet Office. And today, I'm here to talk about AI-powered assistants and their potential to transform resident support, the risks of implementing them without the right due diligence, and what to look for when evaluating solutions. And at the end, if I have time, I'll show you something exciting we've been working on specifically for our LGD customers and naturally the wider community. Now, with the term adopt AI being flung around more than make America great again at a Trump rally, it's easy to get caught up in the hype and rush to adopt it. But let's be clear, AI isn't new. AI, like machine learning and predictive analytics, have actually been around since the 1950s, quietly automating routine tasks in the back end. But what's different now? I think it's the explosion of generative AI, which is transforming how we interact with information in real time. And my advice, AI, especially generative AI, is here to stay and can have a huge impact in a short space of time. So keep rushing, but do so with the right due diligence. So on that front, make sure you understand your architecture behind your Gen AI products you're investigating. Ask your supplier how it's built and how the information is handled. And I won't name the council, but one example recently involved a Gen AI-based note-taking tool joining an organization-wide chief executives call to gain access to their calendars. And calendars started attending meetings uninvited and spread further. And worse still, it actually processed that data outside the UK, leaving the council scrambling to regain control all through that lack of due diligence. So understand what it is you're buying into. Is it cost effective? Is it actually useful? Does it solve real problems, or is it just AI for AI's sake? So that's a quick run over on the due diligence side of things. And I just want to take a quick look at what that means in practice when evaluating an AI-powered resident support solution, because there's no shortage of AI products or products in the market branded as AI-powered chatbots. And from experience talking with many councils using these, they're often just glorified FAQ tools that use generative AI to simply draft pre-written responses. And when residents ask something slightly outside of that narrow scope, the system gets stuck. So when you're evaluating these tools, ask yourself, can it handle complex or multi-part queries? Many so-called AI-powered chatbot systems fail the moment a question gets a bit too complex. And how much manual intervention does it require? If staff constantly need to update or correct responses, it's not a real time saver. And what happens if it doesn't know the answer? Does it provide helpful fallback options, or does it just fail? And these questions help ensure you're not investing in a tool that looks advanced on paper but fails in real-world use. And now you might be wondering, what does an AI-powered resident support solution look like when it meets all of these criteria? Well, that's the sort of exciting thing our very clever in-house AI team has been working on for our LGD customers and naturally the wider community. So I'd like to introduce you to Arto that leverages retrieval augmented generation, which I'll explain on the next slide, and practice what I preach when explaining the architecture behind Arto before giving you a quick demonstration. So on the slide here, we have Arto on the left-hand side, which can be integrated into any customer-facing touchpoint or even WhatsApp, which we'll come onto in a moment. And a resident can ask anything to Arto, and the full context and sentiment of the query is then taken to your secure knowledge base here in the middle, also known as a vector store, where all the information from your council website is stored and the most relevant information is retrieved based on that query. So this is the retrieval part of RAG. Then both the full context and the sentiment of the question, along with the most relevant information from your knowledge base, is then beautifully crafted into a human-like intelligent response over here by generative AI and returned to the resident all in the matter of seconds. So let's quickly take a look at this in action. Bear with me. Just going to share a different screen. So I'm going to bring up this one, just make sure everyone can see that. Can everyone see this window? We've got Redcar and Cleveland's demo site here. We've got that on screen. Fantastic. So hopefully you can see my screen here, as I said, and in this instance, we have Arto sitting in the bottom right-hand corner of a council website, just like a traditional chatbot would. So we can go ahead and ask Arto anything. And let's use a user persona. Let's say Matthew, a 25-year-old new homeowner, is looking to understand what council tax is and subsequently how to pay it. So it goes ahead and says, what is council tax and how do I pay it? And we go ahead and send that off. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, the full context and sentiment of the query, and in this case, 2 queries, is understood and taken over to your council knowledge base to retrieve the most relevant information available. And then once combined with the customer query, generative AI, hopefully in a moment, will take all of that information and return a human-like context-aware intelligent response. And I have had a few dips in my internet connection today, so here we go. As we're using Redcast site today, actually, you'll see something quite interesting here, is that we've welcomed you with Anthony. That's named after the LGD lead at Redcast, Anthony Timon. So thanks, Anthony. I think you're out there today for allowing us to showcase this on your demo site. And you can, of course, brand and name this however you please in your own council circumstances. And here, you can see a fantastic result delivered in plain English, which is easily configured for best practice readability. And the answer is super helpful. We get a nice breakdown here, what council tax is, painting it in a positive light, what it's used for, and then we get all the ways in which council tax can be paid here, alongside those useful links, which you saw also in Martin's demonstration before. Very useful. So let's quickly look at another example from another user persona. I think that'll be helpful. So we have Shelley, a resident in Redcar, who's looking to understand when her bins are getting collected. So we say, when are my bins getting collected? Question mark. Here, it will go through that same process I just mentioned. Once again, full context of the question being asked here, along with the sentiment taken to your knowledge base. And in just a moment, hopefully, generally around about sort of 10 to 15 seconds, and we're iteratively improving that with our LGD customers. And we should get a response in just a moment from generative AI that has encapsulated all of that information along with the full context. So hopefully live demos being live demos, here we go. And sort of once again, you can see a very useful response, including another direct link there, which we'll link out, but I won't go into that today. So it's super useful. We can actually do a custom development here because it's saying, find out when your bins are getting collected. You can check your bin collection schedule online. Enter your street name and postcode, so it's pulling through that useful information on how to actually do that, and they can go through the link here and do that for themselves. But with custom development, which is absolutely an option, we can add this functionality into Arto and reduce that user journey even further. And now I appreciate we don't have unlimited time. Sorry, Aaron. So I'll quickly demonstrate this in WhatsApp as well to show you a few more popular use cases. So bear with me on that front. Quickly just show you one or two because I appreciate we are running out of time here. Let's just bring this up. So hopefully everyone should be able to see my WhatsApp screen here. And we'll just go for one more user persona before we run out of time. So say we have Rebecca, who's a student looking to understand where her nearest library is. So she goes ahead and say, where is my nearest library? So as I mentioned earlier, Arto can be integrated into any customer-facing touchpoint here. And it will go through that same process as it did in the sort of web chat version. It'll get the context, it'll pull the full information, and this is a location-based search here, and then generative AI will get that conversational piece, hopefully here in just a moment. So bear with me. Here you go. I'm Anthony. Thank you again for getting in touch. Find your nearest library. It's going to check the information here for us. So this is actually powerful. Bear with me 1 second. Live demos being live demos. It's ever so slightly paying up here. We need to ask it one more question. How long have we got left, Aaron? Are we nearly there? Apologies. 1 minute.
Over 1 minute? Yeah.
No problem. Thank you very much. So this will eventually pull through the information, but I think for the interest of time, you essentially will be able to ask this question in any language, which is super useful for people with a second language living in your council. We all live in diverse communities. So we'll stop sharing at this point, but I'd love to be able to show this to you guys in a personalized demonstration. So bear with me. I'm just going to share back my other screen because I don't want to take up the time of the next person coming on. So bear with. Should be able to share that with you in just a moment. So here we go. Now, I appreciate, as I said, we're out of time, but we are running a pilot with our LGD customers at the moment to measure the time taken to complete their top 10 key user journeys on the website with and without Arto. And so far, we've seen a 63% improvement using Arto. And we'd love to open up the pilot to others here on the call today, wider LGD community and guests of. So if you would like to take down the details on the screen here, we'd love for you to be part of this iterative process and provide an AI-powered resident support solution that fits the bill for the entire LGD community. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sam. Nice one on time as well. I know you had a lot to fit in.
Thank you.
So last but not least, Justine and Pecking PDFs.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to share my entire screen, so that's always scary. Here we go. Hopefully everyone can see everything.
Yeah.
So you may know me from Chicken, because I am a co-founder there, and I have made subsites extras and also did the actual coding for publications content type. And the publications content type, when we made it, everyone was like, so how do I put my publication in here? So we decided to make the importer, which we've shown a fair few amount of times now. So I'm going to keep this really simple and focus just on the AI part of the publication and one specific, well, focus on one problem, but I'm going to show you some more use cases as well. So lots of people have said to me, publications are really great and all, but when I go to add some text from my PDF, I am fraught with all of this chaos of line breaks not working and having to then go through and fix them all, which is a bit tedious and not what you signed up to do. So the publication importer does fix that, and I'm going to do a live demo, which I shouldn't do, but let's give it a go, of this importing. It does take a little while, so I'm also going to show you some things at the same time. So let's import this document here from Ealing about air quality, which has got lots of boxes in it, lots of different colors, infographics. It's got footnotes and references and lots of different styles. So it's quite a nice complex one. So let's import this, and then I will show you some things that we have talked about. So, oh, I'm not in the right place. Can you tell I demoed this first? Here we go. So this is a page, the last page of the PDF, and this is an instance of the importer that I put through previously, and it has sucked through all of the text and made some links and made lots of different pages of the publication for us and given them all a title. And it's also managed to, this is a different PDF, but it's an example of what it can do. It's managed to get in lists, and it's managed to bolden some stuff. It hasn't picked up the italic text in this first column, but that's okay with me because I don't want italic text on my web content. And then in another more complicated PDF, we've managed to keep the superscript for the stem 3 for the footnote, which I was really chuffed with, and then realized that it had changed the case to camel case. It also put the footnotes, which are from a different article, to a different place, which was a bit upsetting. I'm going to double check that I definitely clicked save on this thing, because that would be awkward. Yeah, it's doing it. It's gone black. Here we go. Good. And then also, so sorry about that. And then the quote here, it's realized that it's a quote and made that whole paragraph into a quote. So it's close, but the paragraph was in line, so it's not perfect, but that's okay with me. Sometimes the bot just gets really sad and ChatGPT just says, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and just has a little rage. So that's fun. We will work on fixing that. I think it just runs out of memory. It's quite a big, this one was quite a big image heavy document. And then sometimes you can run the exact same PDF again and it does a bit better. So this time it managed to get the list right, but the first words for this example, farm storage reservoirs, always, no matter how many times I run this PDF, comes out as groundwater reserves. I'm thinking it just thinks that that's a better word, and that's what it should be. So we're trying to make it not change your text for you, but on the whole, it doesn't. Just sometimes it does. We've got links. Links work. They can put links in, and most of the time they're there. Sometimes they completely fail. Sometimes the link is there, but it's just an anchor link to the text. So again, all a bit fun. And it does tables, and I was very chuffed with this one. So we managed to just import a PDF. This is from a Google document, which we turned into a PDF. And it even managed to take out the empty row of table at the bottom for us. And that was pretty cool. So none of these PDFs are accessible in any way. They're pretty rubbish, to be honest. So the one thing that this does do is it imports all of the text into the text paragraph content at the moment into a publication. What we want to do is try and change it so we can go into any places, you can move things around a lot easier, but at the moment everything just gets dumped into a text thing. But I think there's lots of instances where you're going to need to rewrite words and things like links to the document. That happens quite a lot. Like, you can find this document online here. Well, you don't need that because you are online. We've almost got images, and this is an exciting discovery that I managed to make this week. We're so close to getting images in. It does something. It's not quite right because the image isn't actually there, but it's at least a placeholder to say, this probably should be an image of Councillor Stephen, but he's not there. So we're nearly there, but not quite right with that one. But one thing we definitely do have, and even when it comes over and it doesn't look right, is that we do have line breaks sorted. So even when they look wrong, if I edit the text and then resave it again, she says slowly, then there's just magic back into the right position. And it happens a few times, but it does do it. So all those line breaks and fixing all of that, I think will save us tons of time. So let me check to see whether this is done. It is. Here we go. So here is our document. It's got a bit of text at the beginning and an image. This text is actually hidden underneath this big picture here, which I had to pull the PDF apart to find it because it's not anywhere else in this document, but it's actually underneath the image. So they obviously changed the design right at the last minute. So here's the text that we manually placed. So we've got the forward. It's managed to put it in quite nicely. We've got the leaders and who they are, but it doesn't have their images. We've got the facts. Things that go funny here is the 44%, the 27%, and the 17.5% are actually different heights, and 44 is the highest in pixel ratios. So it reads that one first and puts it next to the highest bit of text. So the facts are actually wrong, even though the content is correct. So there's some tweaking that needs to be done, but we're getting there. And then we've got all these facts here for this. And sometimes this spits out a nice table for me, and sometimes it just shows me this. So yeah, our document has been uploaded in less than 5 minutes. I think it takes about 3, and it's all there for you to be able to go and edit and change and move around as you see fit. So yeah, we're getting pretty close with making the importer better, but we are limited to the amount of time that Rupert, my co-founder, his girlfriend, is watching TV for, because it's the only time that this gets built. So if somebody wants to sponsor us to do so, that would be fantastic. But yeah, this is the AI part of the content importer.
Thank you, Justine. It's looking great. It's amazing to see from that first prototype and then to here. Yeah, you've done a lot already. Brilliant. Thank you for demoing. Thank you everyone for your demos. And sticking to time, we're basically there. We've got 14 minutes to run through some questions. There are 14 questions, although one has already been answered in the chat. So and there has been some upvoting of questions as well. So I'm going to start with the most upvoted, which is a burning topic among content designers. Thank you, Lizzie. Can you get a chatbot to follow a style guide? Thinking that we spend a lot of time designing content on a page to provide the best experience, and wondering how we can then translate that into what a chatbot says. I think, or maybe feeds back. So maybe it's a question for Martin and Sam.
So I'm just trying to unmute myself there. Absolutely. Yeah. Style guides will be absolutely factored and configured into the overall look and feel of chatbots on your website, so it'll completely match your brand's tone of voice and branding in general. As you kind of saw there on WhatsApp, although we didn't get time to show that's full functionality, we're able to integrate naturally just the red car logo in that instance on the website. The tone of voice and the system instructions you give to your chatbot, or we like to call an AI-powered assistant, totally sort of dictate the way in which the answers are returned. And I think there was another question there. You can sort of control the word count, for user experience best practices. But absolutely, yeah, it can tie into a council style guide. That's a really important feature and something we work hard on to make sure was possible.
Thanks, Sam. Martin, do you want to add anything?
No, much the same. Everything that Sam just said, yeah, I absolutely agree with. No, 100%. Yeah, we can integrate style guides with that.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you both. Second question. I think this is open, so for any of the four of you and anyone in the chat, if you want to dive into this, how do we all feel about all the US AI companies working with the Department of Defense? Should we all be using Mistral? Excuse my ignorance, I've not come across that one. But maybe more pertinently, and I think another one asks this, how can we build an LGD LLM? So I guess, Sam, with your model, and similar, Martin, if you're using OpenAI in the background, could you replace that with an open source version? One I've come across, I guess, is Llama, maybe, if that's appropriate.
Yeah.
How do we sort of take control of the whole stack when we're doing this sort of work?
It's an expensive challenge. Let me just firstly say that. It is absolutely achievable, creating sort of like an LGD specific model. But there is pretty hefty costs associated in doing that. That's sort of one of the biggest challenges, and that's why you don't see as many players like your sort of OpenAIs, your DeepSeeks and Qwens that create these huge language models. Appreciate they're based on trillions of data points, but it'll still be a real task to do that in an inexpensive way. So yes, it is achievable, but you'd need to pull together quite the investment to make that happen from a sort of LGD specific model. Our model is a lot more contained to the website information, or the council's website information. Anything that you can essentially find on a council website will go into your knowledge base. If you're looking at a wider LLM style responder, that's a really expensive task.
Cool. Jamie, you want to jump in here, as you've probably done a lot of research into this.
Yeah, I was going to write an answer, which I said, but yeah, I think open source stuff is getting really good now, I think. So DeepSeek R1 is really good and can be run pretty cheaply. So we can now start moving away from necessarily needing proprietary models, I think. We'll see what happens with Llama 4. And I'm really excited by Hugging Face have an initiative which they're calling OpenSeek, where they're going to understand what happens with DeepSeek. Right, yeah, ChatCCP. Yeah, it's not very good if you ask it about Taiwan. But Hugging Face are working on something called OpenSeek, where they're going to look at the way they did it and retrain a new model like it, but obviously not with any of the CCP stuff. But from an open source point of view, they're also going to make it so they're going to publish the data sources, because what they did is they actually used ChatGPT basically to create the data to train it. So now it's easier for them to actually publish the data, whereas before we had to train it with proprietary information. The AI module in Drupal has an abstraction layer, so you can swap out different models. And then Light LLM is also very good that we've been looking at. Yeah, so one of the things about DeepSeek as well is I wouldn't use the DeepSeek API, because that's the one that goes to China, and it's already been shown that they are taking everyone's API keys and putting it online in an unencrypted database. So we use Fireworks AI as the people to do hosting our open source stuff. And when it comes to training, mostly at almost every level, even the people who have a lot of money, training the big models doesn't seem to work or do anything useful compared to using the RAG. But I haven't done it myself, but one of our team has. Training the small models, so like 7B, they have found that actually you can train them, and you don't need trillions of lines of data. You need like 100 lines or maybe 1,000 lines of data, and that has worked. but what you train them to do like a very specific task. So we are thinking of using them for our AI agents that were talked about, that Gareth talked about. That might be a place where you could train an AI agent to maybe correct a specific kind of grammar, or to automate a very particular task, or to triage things between 4 or 5 things. I think you could train your own open source model to do that. And these things are so small, they can run on like a phone, a laptop, etc. So I think, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Sam, as well. So I'm going to move on to other questions. If there's any more, then dive into the chat. Next up, voted, if a PDF isn't tagged properly, isn't accessible, will the publications importer account for this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So what it does, which I didn't show, we've got other videos on our website about how that works. So what happens is the PDF goes through a parser and it turns everything to plain text, and then it takes it at the moment to ChatGPT, but we use the AI module so you can swap out whatever you want to use. And then it's got a really simple prompt at the moment that says, please put the formatting back into this. So then it provides valid HTML back, and then that goes into the formatter. Rue's got a wonderful video about how that works, but I just wanted to kind of show like the actual effects of it for editors. But yeah, none of these PDFs were particularly accessible. Most of them didn't have the right title or anything written on them, and they've come up okay.
Brilliant. If you've got that video handy, or that
I will
page,
share it.
share it in. Yeah, brilliant. How quickly does Arto register any changes? I guess this could be the same for Martin. So maybe I'll come to Martin first. How quick, when you're changing and updating content, how quickly does that get registered with the chatbot?
I believe it's almost instantaneous, but Colin will probably have to answer that question for me. Colin, I think you're muted.
And maybe Sam, is that instantaneous? You want a thumbs up, Sam? Or
Absolutely. Yes, the way our sort of current RAG system works is it updates on a nightly basis. So there's no sort of like heavy lifting for councils to go in and upload new documentation, or anytime anything changes, for as long as that's changed on the live site, we can pull that in safely and securely into that vector database, so that is essentially looked after for you.
Cool. Brilliant. I'll just answer that question. I'm going to keep us moving. How are we doing for time? 5 minutes. Okay. We've covered that one. We have covered that one. I've gone down.
I can perhaps give a tiny bit more context into that for sort of people that understand the sitemap side of things. That's essentially how we pull all the information through into a vector database via the sitemap of the council website.
Okay, cool. Question for Gareth. So you were showing this sort of site builder agent. Is that available in Drupal core?
It's not
or is
Drupal
it just
core,
a
but
Drupal CMS thing at the moment? What's the?
It's not Drupal core, but it is Drupal contrib. So you could easily use a lot of this stuff in LocalGov Drupal. Yeah, I think that was one of the big things about the launch, was everybody kind of threw in all their latest and greatest, and then it actually got ramped back to what was stable for the release. So there's a lot more stuff available if you're happy to go with dev tools and things like that. But this is all stable stuff within Contrib, and I'm sure Jamie can give us a bit more insight. But certainly everything's available from Drupal.org. The AI modules, the recipes themselves are being built out as something that you can download individually. But certainly you could get Drupal CMS, look at what the recipe is doing, and easily replicate that in your own site.
And swap out Drupal there, or add in LocalGov before, and then we do the same thing. Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. Sorry, thanks, Gareth. Arto question: is it derived from the main website content? You showed 2 examples actually, which seemed to be, one was the whole website and one was maybe a subset, just fostering. Is that
No,
right?
so they actually work on the same data. So in both instances, both WhatsApp and the main website, it is absolutely from all of your main website content. As I said, through the sitemap side of things, that's how we're able to quickly update that information on a nightly basis for any changes that come through. So absolutely, yeah. So anything that essentially is on your council website is what can be retrieved. And should a question fall outside of that information, it will politely respond, thank you, but I don't have that information. Here's a contact number you can call.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Sam, Martin, hallucinations.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can certainly take that. For those that don't know what hallucinations are, essentially LLMs are built on neural networks, which are kind of meant to slightly resemble the human brain. We've discussed this before the call, I think, Aaron. You know, we can all make mistakes, right? When we're asked questions, sometimes we deliver the wrong information, comes out of our mouths, and we think, oh, that's wrong. LLM can do the same, but be pleased to know it's kind of only around about the 1% mark where when you speak to an LLM through ChatGPT or whether that's DeepSeek, you can sometimes get answers that come back. But to answer the question, in our instance, this is where it's really important, I think, for councils, and that kind of demonstrates our history in the public sector, is we use a contained environment, that vector database. So the only thing that generative AI is used for is just to create the conversational piece. So the question isn't being pulled into this, you know, trillions of data points that are trained on Reddit, that are trained on all sorts of information across the internet. It pulls the information first out of your vector database and then only uses generative AI to then formulate the conversational answer. So completely eliminating the risk of a hallucination.
Yeah. Martin, anything you want to add?
Yeah, basically the same. Just like, since it's using retrieval augmented generation, then it's not really likely to hallucinate. Although there has been the recent case of like Apple News summarizing things in very misleading ways. So it probably could possibly still, but you know.
Lovely, thank you. I think we're coming up to time. So there's a few more questions. What I'll do is just have a look through and follow up with the speakers, and then we can share any further answers that people have. Thank you so much for your answers. Thanks for your questions as well. They're brilliant. Shows again what hot topic this is. We're going to end with a key takeaway. So if you've got your phones, what was one thing that you sort of noted, learned, liked, intrigued by, worried about, learned, surprised by? This is just the beginning. Very good. It's scary. So many possibilities. Import publications, exclamation mark. Justine, is that you again? AI is here to enhance, not replace. Like everything, it's only as good as the data. Converting PDFs to an accessible format is the dream. Death to PDFs. That sounds like Lizzie or some content designer. Very nice. Chicken's publications work will be so valuable. Thank you. How LocalGov Drupal is embracing AI early, and more importantly, in the context of LocalGov websites, exciting times. Just about to start publication, so great to hear about the importer, lots to consider. We need to work on open source LocalGov Drupal AI, I guess. AI fatigue. Loved seeing the publication importer. Great to hear that open source models are getting stronger. We'll have chicken. That wasn't you, Justine, you wouldn't like that, actually. PDF importing to HTML, improving accessibility is huge.
Okay, I'm not feeling any pressure.
No.
I wrote this is just the beginning. All of everyone else. Okay, it's fine.
Maybe you've got an AI chatbot just like splurging things in there. Well, I don't know. So got it running automatically. It's brilliant. No, it's good to see. Fantastic. All right, folks, we're at 3 o'clock. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much to Martin, Justine, where are you? Gareth and Sam for your talks. Fantastic. They'll go out on our YouTube channel as soon as I can. I am not using AI to do that, so it will be a manual process. I'm sorry, I haven't quite worked out how to do that yet. But hopefully by next week, and then we'll post a blog post as well, and I'll follow up on the questions. Thanks, folks. Drupal Camp England is coming up. hopefully to see you there. It's on the 1st of March. It's in Cambridge. There's going to be lots of people there already from this group. If any of you on the council side want to come along, it's a really great place to learn and very, very welcoming open community. That's it. See you again. Have a pleasant onward journey.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.